Good morning. My name is Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer at T3Live.com.
And I'm Brittany Umar, and together we bring you Morning Call. And we're also welcoming Scott back, who had been traveling overseas for quite some time. How was your trip, Scott?
Trip was good, but it's always good to be back.
Right.
But when you go away and you travel, overseas, it's so good to meet individuals that want to approach the stock market with the plan. You travel around, everyone's always interested in all markets, whether it's U.S. markets, Asia markets, this and that, and everyone needs an approach. So with that being said, it's good to see VTF members that are trying to learn, that are trying to educate themselves. It's just good to see that people would rather learn tactics versus just reading headlines, because we all know that the headlines out there always read catastrophe, climatic, this, that. But with that being said, markets are very close to 2013 and all-time highs.
Right, and you were away during crunch time with this budget deal when really the headlines were heating up about it and everything. What did you think when you were overseas on Monday when we came back without a budget deal and we were down?
Well, I will say it's the virtual trading floor, which I'm going to do a shameless plug, but I needed it. Like, I was away, you turn the laptop on and do whatever. You see the futures down 14 handles, and those on the virtual trading floor could have seen that I had some longs on because the market did feel as if we would get a deal and it was okay going into it. But then, you know what? We were down 14 handles, and all we did is take back support 1 on that Friday. So I was thinking to myself, okay, here's support 1, here's support 2. Take a look at the chart here. You will see that this was really the day that the market priced in what took place overnight last night. This was, here was your red dog reversal at the trend line. Here is your gap and go. Crossed this downtrend, broke above, little follow through Friday. So really, all we did on Friday is retest this breakout. So with that being said, you had a nice move, inside day, a little bit more red than it should have been, but anyway, and then here was yesterday, and now today we're down, 6, 7 handles, so I would say right now, the longer we stay above this area, above this 692 to 1700, the higher the probability that we take out the 2013 highs and maybe see a little bit of Santa Claus closer to Halloween or Turkey Day.
Well, and going back to that day, though, there were other signs that we could have picked up on, right? We saw Asia and Europe only slightly down that day.
Right, I think, after a nice move in Europe, in like the DAX and the FTSE, it was down small. Asia was actually mixed. I think one of the indices were up a little bit, so that also gave you some clues that, if you had some longs, just don't abandon them on that Monday because they said there's going to be no deal. Market can always tell you something, and if you look here at the FXI, you will see here you are. This market's been acting very well. Okay, ever since the start of 2013, which comes in right here, it was in a downtrend until the double bottom over the summer. Then higher low, higher low, higher low, broke the downtrend, and here you are flagging, creating a wedge type pattern or pennant above the downtrend. So I think the Asian markets are acting very well. At some point, if you want to trade here above this 38.65. Could ignite another move above 40. And if you look at the EWJs, which has given a lot of tradable moves all year, here was your outside day, then here was your hanging man red dog reversal bottom, and now look where we are here, hovering higher. You could trade Japan versus 1180, and then if it starts getting above 12 again, I don't see any reason why this can't see 12.12 and back to those highs. So world markets are acting better. Hopefully some of these headlines are behind us. I think Washington should start meeting now.
Right.
So maybe they'll have to go to the final hour and actually can get something done.
Exactly.
But I really want to stop seeing them paraded on TV. It's enough.
I know.
Do their job.
I know. Well, and we were so busy talking about that for so long, we haven't been focusing as much on earnings, but they continue to roll in. We have IBM's earnings not being well received. It's at 2013 lows right now. It's actually approaching levels that Scott forecast in his 2013 thesis. Yeah,
that was one of the ones we talked about that might not be the place to be for 2013, right. And then the market confirmed it as it went on. So here we are. You look at the chart of IBM. I think they were $1 billion less in revenue. So you have a high, lower high, blah, blah, blah. Here's one level of support right around 170. I think it's 173. I think Warren Buffett was on TV saying that he might take a look at 170 or something like that. So maybe this is a spot, if you're not caught in this mess, to trade versus a 15, 30-minute low. But ultimately, really, really big support comes in here. So depending on how IBM gaps down and comes off the lows, will give us clues on how much more downside there is. And as far as eBay is concerned, you know what? It's such a frustrating scenario. Whenever you try and position in a channel before a breakout, it definitely could be a little painful. I've spoken about how I believe that this could break to the upside. Well, at this point, you know what? If you take stock into earnings, you have to deal with the risk. I don't take it into earnings. But at this point, if you haven't, look to see how it handles this 50 level. Okay, 50 going across is very big support. It's a little bit above it. So this too, look for a 15, 30-minute low and see if it trades off it and fills a portion of this gap. But if it doesn't, chances are you might actually get a short setup through the bottom of this support system. So, today could tell us a lot about the future movement of eBay and IBM. And
Goldman Sachs also out this morning with a report that came in a little bit light. The stock is slightly down. Is there opportunity there?
We'll see, because a lot of the banks were strong yesterday.
Right.
So this is just giving back what it gained yesterday on the backs of the other strength. So I will look at Goldman, for market composure here. And if you look, this is upper level support. So here is your support 1, right? This is just where it was yesterday, or somewhere around this. So 157.50. I think when I walked in here, it was like in 159. So if this were to hold, I would say Goldman took it in stride. If this doesn't hold, then you could see a little bit more pressure on the banks, and then really, I guess your bigger support comes in below this, which this pivot here is 152. But I would watch Goldman. It seems like a lot of times banks, blow off whatever it is, and at this point we'll see if this holds. If this holds, I think it's an opportunity, and it'll be overall healthy for that group.
Yes. Well, let's check in with the other names in that group then, because as Scott said, the banks did lead the market up yesterday. Let's talk J.P. Morgan, which actually reached the target level that you guys have of 54 and had a nice gain of more than 3%.
Yeah, I remember before I left, I talked about, at that neckline that everyone was talking about for the head and shoulders top, it held and we had that red dog reversal. It's a little catchy name. But anyway, with that being said, he was that head and shoulders pattern that was developing, okay, and then you had another pattern. This was your outside day right there. I remember we were trading it all together at 50-30. People saw it go green on the VTF. You had this move, okay. Then it got a little wishy-washy, came back, retested, came up, and yesterday it broke out. These earnings are behind them already, behind it already. So with that being said, some weakness in Goldman could bring some weakness into the group, and that can give you a potential spot to re-enter if you missed it. I will be looking here, and if Goldman goes positive today, a stock like this should scream. I talked about what it would take to negate this pattern. Well, yesterday it broke above a pattern that the bears probably would have wanted for lower prices. So at this particular point, I would say this is your line in the sand for this stock. If this stock wants to stay looking good and compact, I would say 52.50 is big support. It should continue to hold.
Bank of America as well had a nice gain of more than 2%. I know you like this one. How much room does it have until next resistance?
Well, the question is when and if it'll make new 2013 highs. I think it will. Okay, and if you look here, it also has earnings behind it, so maybe some weakness today by the dip. If it's going to be any good and wants to make new highs sooner, you would think that this 1430 holds, and if 1430 holds and it starts getting through yesterday's high, here is your downtrend. We've seen this pattern here in Bank of America so many times where, it's consolidated and went, consolidated and went. I could almost feel like it was yesterday when it, went above this $10 and we had a really nice trade to start the year. I think the 2013 thesis for Bank of America was between 14 to 16, and that's where it is. So if you put it in the drawer and didn't trade it, congratulations. And now if you're looking for a good trade above this, I would say, what is it, 1480 level with some authority, and we should see 2013 highs. And in my opinion, if this was December and I was writing my 2014 thesis, I would say that Bank of America could see 18 to 22. So continue to stay with this one.
All right. And saving the best for last, Citi was the winner in the group, soared 4%. Do you think we'll get some upside follow through here?
Well, it's going to be interesting because the banks were the strongest yesterday, and now Goldman's down,
right,
$4 or so. I could take a look. So if these want to continue, if Goldman goes positive, I would definitely look at Citigroup. And if you look here, you'll see, nice wide range bar yesterday, looking good as far as how it closed, pretty strong. So one of my rules is, stock that goes out strong on the highs of the day. Well, it's one of the things you look towards. Might have a little excess because of Goldman and the earnings, but if it takes it in stride and digests a little bit, then your new area for momentum would be 50.90. But again, here's your line in the sand and know your time frame.
All right, well, coming up, we're going to go in the trenches with some Chinese names that look like they're setting up. But first, a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
I'm Evan Lazarus, Chief Knowledge Officer for T3Live.com. You don't become a great trader by watching videos and taking courses. You become a great trader through live screen time. Accelerate that learning curve by tapping into the experience of seasoned professionals. Currently, we're offering 5-day free trials to each of our 4 mentoring rooms. In the mentoring rooms, we teach our strategies in the context of the live market. To sign up for a free trial, go to the T3 Live education page, fill out the form, and get started when the next trading session begins. We hope to see you in one of our mentoring rooms.
We're back and going in the trenches with some Chinese names that look like they could be setting up for some breakout moves. Let's start with Qihu, which has been in a descending channel for the past month, but looks like it's holding higher.
It does, and these names keep having patterns that reset up that can give you tradable inflection points, and this stock's been leading the pack, looking good. It's had a really nice trend above the 8 and 21-day most of the time. This time was a little bit more of a corrective phase than it's seen in a while, but rightly so. Look at the move. So at this point, these things aren't for the faint of heart. They move very quickly, but with quick movers, you can make some money. And right here is 87.90. If this starts to get above 87.90 and is the first to go green today in a sea of red, this could see that move back to at least the 2013 highs, which are closer to about 94, on its way to 100 plus.
And Sina holding above the 8-day. How can we get a piece of this action?
Like we've done it a few other times at other areas. This stock has been very nice as far as trading through price points. If you look here at this one, maybe it'll happen again. And here you go. If you look at the chart, last time it was really tight, it was right around here. This gave you a nice breakout, consolidated breakout. Now it's looking like it's getting tight again. This was an ugly wide range bar, but what did it do? It got engulfed, went halfway, came above it. So I would say for this one, above 88.23, you could see some action if this group is strong, and then you do have one more price point to focus on, which comes in right there. And then you know what happens if a stock takes out 2013 highs. Typically, there's more momentum.
How about Sohu? Do you think we'll see this one get back to highs as well?
This one's a tricky one. The pattern's not as tight. If you look at it, it's worth noting. This definitely led the group way back when it had a huge base like this. You had your breakout, retest, went again, and then you had this sort of breakout failure, because look what the market did. The market imploded a bit, so these had the air taken out real quick, but it's come back. It's already taken back more than half of this day. It's just, at this one, it's tough for me to trade sometimes. But anyway, with that said, if the group gets going today above 84.03, and perhaps you could see a move, just make sure there's some volume, and I wouldn't take too much size there.
Would you prefer then a stock like S-Fund, where we have a tight upper level base here forming above the 8-day?
Yes, I would. Yes, this one, it looks to me much tighter. And, I've had some success here, so you sometimes want to gravitate where you feel comfortable. And here is your last move to highs, and then now it's been pretty much in a channel for a while, and now look what it's doing. It's holding actually the upper end of that channel. Okay, so if I was short this one, I would be a little scared. Anyway, with that being said, as this clears 52.50, I think you could be a buyer here, especially if there's volume, and hopefully we get a nice move. This was a new issue way back when. It's been acting very well. It's got no bad memories, and new issues that have nothing to the left tend to move very quickly. So put that on your radar today.
All right, let's do some quick hits and talk Facebook, which is continuing to hold higher and is already back at highs after last week's potent sell-off. So do you think it'll make another leg higher here?
I'll be watching it, and I'll hopefully get some opportunity with the futures down. Maybe it's worth a try here. You look at it. What a great stock ever since earnings. This one was a big headache for me this year, where, back in my 2013 thesis also, we talked about the cup and handle pattern here that took some time to work out. This was it, the whole cup. Here is your descending channel that took time. It took another earnings report to ignite it so they could prove that they can monetize mobile. During this time period, I think Barron said $15, and that's when my hate mail came in. But anyway, with that said, you had your gap up after earnings. It held, and since then, it's been a really nice trade. So let's just fast forward to where we are now. You look here, you look at this tight setup right near the highs here. So if you see relative strength here, I think you see a trade. Okay, so one entry would be 51.24, and then if it were to get above 51.60, there's nothing to your left. Lots of upgrades to the $60 price. So put this on the radar today. This could be an an A-list trade. All
right. And Boeing has been inching higher. What are the levels watch here? We do have earnings with this one next week.
If you look at the chart, I'll just get right into it. This was a frustrating stock for me because this was one of my focuses too. I put a price target and I didn't take half amount of money as I should have out. You look at this price pattern here. This was the channel that we were talking about in Boeing. Remember the beginning of the year, they had the fires, the engine problem. What that did is create more opportunity. Now look, boom. Anyway, with that being said, if you have it in the drawer and you kept it there, you're a better market trader than I am right now. I missed out on a lot of opportunity. But anyway, with that being said, look at it right here. So above 120.66, I do think that you get some follow through. It's probably down with the market, so there's an opportunity there.
All right.
I was actually on an Airbus, and it was gorgeous.
Yeah.
It was huge. But,
Not a Dreamliner, though?
It could have been. I didn't pay that much attention.
I think you'd know. I think you'd know if it was a Dreamliner. All right. Well, how about Starbucks? We saw a gain of about 1.7% yesterday. I think we'll get more upside movement there.
It's the stock, you know, it feels like it edges up okay, but doesn't give the trader the punch that it wants. And if you look here, you know, it still looks good. The pattern's still tight. It's on its way. It really has to just get some authority. So above 78.32, maybe get some authority. But anytime you take too much size in Starbucks, it hurts. But meanwhile, it hasn't really gone down. So, you know, if it's one of your positions, just continue to hold it as it trends, and just don't get too excited that you could have a move sort of like Solar City.
Gotta talk Solar City. Come on, more than a 12% gain yesterday after a huge move like that on Friday.
You know what, Elon Musk, he came out with a lot of news that ignited the market on that Friday. And even if you missed that move, you had a textbook bull flag set up for continuation yesterday. Look at the chart. This was your igniting bar above the downtrend, okay? Then you had what here? A bull flag. If I were to do a definition of a bull flag and say, what does it look like? Here's what it looks like. Then it held higher. I know I was trading, you know, and it didn't have a really good move the prior day. In flight, I said, you know what, I'm going to be flat, which I shouldn't have done. And then PS, you know, if you were sitting at your seat, you could have bought, you know, 48.13s for a move to 52. Now it's been upgraded this morning. You know, I'm not exactly sure by who because I'm not on my desk. But anyway, you know, here's that pivot. It's above it. This stock has, you know, a lot of room. You know, you look at the weekly chart, it, you know, has nothing to the left, okay? That's why you always want to learn how a new issue trades, especially if it starts to get traction. So anyway, with that being said, here is Friday's high. As long as it stays above 52.65, or yesterday's high, I mean, you know, there's no reason why you can't see 60, 65 bucks.
Well, tonight we have Google reporting, among other names. What's your advice to traders as we head into the session today?
You know, we've come a long way. The deal seems to be priced in. I think that us being down today is normal. I'm sure they're going to see politician after politician talking about if they liked it, they didn't like the deal. At this point, who cares? You know, people should be talking about the stock action and earnings. You know, I would say that short term, let's see on the S&P, we hold above 1707 to 1712. I think the market will stay kind of in this pain trade where you have to be in things and you have to stay with them. If we were to pull back a little bit more than that, then I bet you some bears will say, oh, double top, which I don't think so, but we don't have to say that yet. So at this point, lots of great action. We showed you the setups in some of the Chinese names. We talked about the setups in the Seoul names yesterday, which worked well. You have various different technology action. IBM, you know, not a place to be, as we've discussed many times. Maybe there's a little bounce off 170. And at this point, I just feel like there's been a lot of good action. You know, John rolled out the new off the charts. It's very clear now. It tells you the type of pattern, you know, perhaps an action area, a target, the reason why. So if you're not at your desk all day long and you want to put in bracket orders, whatever you want to do, it's very clear cut. You know, as far as the morning note, you know, it was great to be, you know, overseas, and everyone's like, oh, I you know, subscribe to your morning note. Thank you for doing it for free. You know, everyone's very thankful. People are thankful if you could help them and you could put them in a better position to make their life better. You know, but you can't push the keyboard for anybody. You know, it's great to get a fish thrown in the boat, but you still have to, you know, drive the boat. So with that being said, learn how to drive the boat.
We miss those metaphors, right? All right, well, that's your morning call for this Thursday. Happy trading. Have a great day.